It is official that the pound-for-pound king, Terence Bud Crawford, has agreed in principle to face off the four-division world champion, Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo comes out there what Canelo should do, Canelo wins the fight. If Canelo comes out there what he shouldn't do, Crawford wins the fight.
And just like that, the king remains undisputed. The world watched, the doubters whispered, and the analysts debated, but in the end it wasn't even close. They said it was a 50-50 fight, a chess match between two of boxing's greatest minds. But from the opening bell, it became clear, this was never a fair fight. This wasn't a battle. This was a statement. The pound-for-pound debate, over. The questions, silenced. Terence Crawford, the undefeated genius, the switch-hitting mastermind, the man who made legends look ordinary, was suddenly out of answers. The ring felt smaller, the punches felt heavier, the relentless pressure, the thunderous body shots, the undeniable presence of Canelo Alvarez, it was too much. But was this destiny? Was this inevitable? Or was this fight lost the moment Crawford signed the contract? Because if you really break it down, if you really look at the facts, Crawford was walking into a nightmare he never had a chance of surviving. Let me show you why this was always going to be a one-sided massacre. Undefeated, an undisputed champion in not one, but two weight classes. A boxer so technically gifted, so precise, that he makes elite fighters look like amateurs. His ability to adapt, to switch stances, to outthink and outgun his opponents, it's the stuff of legend. But here's the problem. None of that will matter, because this time, he's stepping into Canelo Alvarez's world. This isn't just a step up in competition. This isn't just another title fight. This is a leap into the deep end of the ocean, a place where Crawford has never been, against a force he has never faced. For years, Crawford has dismantled welterweights, picking them apart with surgical precision. But now, he's challenging a man who has torn through 4 different weight divisions, a man who has stood toe-to-toe with fighters so powerful that one punch could have ended his career. Crawford's biggest win? Errol Spence Jr., an elite fighter, yes. But Spence was a man coming off a brutal car accident, a fighter drained from years of punishing weight cuts. He was there to be beaten. Canelo? He is no Errol Spence. He's a wrecking ball, a fighter who has brutalized natural super middleweights, knocked out light heavyweights, and stood firm against the hardest punchers in the sport. Let's talk about size, because this isn't just about skill, it's about physics. Crawford is a natural 135-pounder who grew into 147. Canelo? He's walked into the ring weighing 190 pounds at times, absorbing punches from giants, bulldozing men who would break Crawford in half. This is no longer about talent. This is about surviving against a man who makes careers disappear. And if you think Crawford can just dance around Canelo, outbox him, pick him apart from the outside, you haven't been paying attention. Canelo has spent years hunting down slick movers. He chopped down Callum Smith's arm, he broke Billy Joe Saunders' face, and he turned Caleb Plant's confidence into dust. If elite super middleweights couldn't survive, and against the pressure, Crawford is brilliant. But this fight, this is an impossible challenge. He isn't just facing an opponent, he's stepping into the ring with a force of nature. And when the first bell rings, reality will hit harder than any punch he has ever taken. They say Terence Crawford is a master technician, a fighter who can dissect his opponents with precision. But tell me this, what happens when your sharpest punches bounce off a fighter who has already tasted the power of giants and kept moving forward? Because here's what Crawford is facing. Canelo Alvarez isn't just a bigger man, he's a different kind of beast. Let's talk about sheer physicality. Canelo Alvarez has fought and dominated at 175 pounds, going toe-to-toe with full-fledged light heavyweights. He took clean shots from Sergey Kovalev, a knockout artist known for putting people to sleep. He stood in the fire with Gennady Golovkin, a man who had never been outgunned in his entire career. And he didn't just survive, he walked through them. Now Crawford, a man who has spent most of his career at 140 and 147 pounds, is supposed to make Canelo crumble? That's not just unlikely, that's fantasy. And if you think Crawford's speed is going to be the difference maker, let's get something straight. Speed means nothing if you can't make your opponent respect you. Caleb Plant was fast. Billy Joe Saunders was slick. Amir Khan was lightning quick, and all of them got folded when Canelo walked them down and made them feel his power. Now let's talk about that power, because this is where Crawford is stepping into dangerous waters. Canelo isn't just a puncher, he's a destroyer. He doesn't just throw punches to score points, he throws them to shatter confidence, to break wills, to end fights. His shots to the body, they aren't just painful, they are career-altering. Ask Callum Smith, who left the ring with a bicep so swollen it looked like it was about to explode. Ask Billy Joe Saunders, whose eye socket was literally shattered by an uppercut. Ask Sergey Kovalev, who thought he was safe, until one perfect shot put his lights out. And Crawford, he's never faced anything close to that kind of firepower. People talk about Crawford's ability to take a punch, but who has ever truly tested that chin? His best opponents, Sean Porter, Errol Spence, were good, but they weren't Canelo-level dangerous. Spence was dropped 3 times, battered, and stopped. What happens when Crawford gets hit by a man who has knocked out fighters 20 pounds heavier than him? Let's be real. Crawford is stepping into the deepest, darkest waters of his career. And when he feels that first sledgehammer to the ribs, when he realizes that Canelo isn't slowing down, isn't backing up, and isn't going anywhere, that's when he'll understand. He's not in a boxing match, he's in a survival test, and the clock is ticking. There is no escape. You can run. You can move, you can try to box smart, but against Canelo Alvarez, it's only a matter of time. Every fighter who has stepped into the ring with him has had the same realization. The pressure never stops. Puncher. He thrives stakes. He doesn't chase. He doesn't waste energy swinging at the air. He cuts off the ring with surgical precision. His footwork isn't flashy, but it's effective. Every step he takes forces his opponent exactly where he wants them. And once you're trapped, there's no way out. Look at Canelo's fights against slick boxers. Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, Amir Khan. Every single one of them tried to stay on the outside, tried to use speed and movement to survive, and every single one of them failed. Why? Because Canelo's pressure is not just physical, it's psychological. You can see it on their faces, round after round, that moment when they realize they have nowhere left to run. And this is where the true nightmare begins, Canelo's body attack. Crawford has never faced a fighter who weaponizes body punches like this. Canelo doesn't just throw to the head, he digs into the ribs, the liver, the solar plexus, places that drain your soul with every shot. It's not just about power, it's about strategy. He softens his opponents up round by round, making it harder for them to move, harder for them to breathe, harder for them to think. Look at what he did to Callum Smith. By the later rounds, Smith's body was so battered that he could barely lift his arms to defend himself. Look at how Billy Joe Saunders, a fighter known for his slick movement, was completely immobilized before Canelo shattered his face. And let's not forget Sergey Kovalev, a former light heavyweight champion who was broken down piece by piece until he had nothing left. Now picture Terence Crawford in that same situation. Crawford has excellent movement, but he's never had to deal with this kind of sustained, intelligent pressure. He's never had a fighter walk him down while making 0 mistakes, cutting off every escape route, and ripping shots to the body that feel like sledgehammers. What happens when Crawford's legs stop responding the way they should? What happens when every breath starts feeling like fire? What happens when Canelo is still right in front of him, smiling, moving forward, and ready to unleash hell? This isn't just a boxing match. This is a slow, systematic breakdown. And once Crawford starts feeling the weight of Canelo's pressure, he won't be fighting to win. He'll be fighting just to make it to the final bell. But against Canelo, most don't. Crawford has dominated at 140. He has ruled at 147. But look at the names on his resume. Errol Spence Jr., Sean Porter, Kell Brook, all great fighters, but none of them are legends. None of them are historic. None of them are on the level of the men Canelo Alvarez has battled. Because Canelo, he has been forged in the fire of the greatest fighters of this generation. At just 23 years old, he stood across the ring from Floyd Mayweather, the greatest defensive boxer of all time. He lost, but he learned. He studied. He evolved. That loss turned him into something even more dangerous, a complete fighter. Since then, look at the killers he has faced. Gennady Golovkin, a monster, a man who had never been outgunned in his entire career. Canelo stood toe-to-toe with him for 24 brutal rounds, taking Golovkin's best shots, outlasting him, and proving he was the superior fighter. Sergey Kovalev, a natural light heavyweight, a former champion, and a knockout artist. Canelo moved up in weight and dismantled him, stopping him in devastating fashion. Miguel Cotto, a legendary warrior, a future Hall of Famer, Canelo went to war with him and emerged victorious. Daniel Jacobs, Callum Smith, Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, the best of the super middleweight division, undefeated champions, all brought down by Canelo's sheer skill and power. This is decades of experience against the toughest competition boxing has to offer. Canelo hasn't just fought legends, he has beaten them. And now, Terence Crawford, a man who has spent his career dominating smaller fighters, is good. Crawford is skilled, no doubt, but in his weight classes, he has never been inside the ring with a predator like Canelo. When the lights are brightest, when the moment is the biggest, when things start to get ugly in those later rounds, who do you trust more? The man who has been tested against the best, or the man who is stepping into the unknown? Canelo has been here before. Crawford has not. And when the fight gets rough, when it becomes about more than just talent, experience will be the difference. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Crawford can defy the odds? Or will Canelo's dominance continue, just like I believe it will? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Who wins, how, and in what round? Let's hear it. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more high-energy fight analysis, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update. Because when these two warriors finally step into the ring, you're not going to want to miss a second of it.